I've seen them all with open eyes. Seen islands, open spaces, Serengeti sun slowly rise. All these memories, I hold them near me when I sail the Aegean Sea. But there's one place for me. Take me to the place where I come from, the only place where I really belong. Take me 'cause this voyage seems so long. Back to you, ooh. Back to you, ooh. Where streets are filled with people I used to race back home from school. We kids, we never back down. We learn by breaking every rule. Ooh. All these memories. Take me to the place where I come from, the only place that I really belong. Oh, sometimes this road can be so long. Back to you, ooh. Sun is rising, I can see the edge of the horizon, way out there. One day, maybe, I will get to see it rise with you. Take me to the place where I come from, the only place that I really belong. Oh, sometimes this road can be so long. Back to you, ooh. Back to you, ooh.
I shut the door and all the windows I hide inside. Forget the people I used to love, all that I had. Open the drawers, try to find something new to last, and the time rushing by so fast. All that I had, all the times we would run off, get in trouble. get in trouble. Could have held on to that bubble, and I would get to you, you would get me too. But now we've fallen through. If we only could make it last, to be enough time in a flash. We were over before I could get to you. You already knew we were overdue. Make it last, to be enough time in a flash. We were over before I could get to you. You already knew we were overdue. Make it last.
Yeah. Girl, I don't know what it means, but I keep talking in my sleep. I'm waking up like every night, just to escape my vivid dreams. Last night I called your name, but you were nowhere found. Your picture in a frame from when you were around. The memories haunting me, and it's my destiny. Baby, tell me why you still hit on my mind. If only these words could speak right to your heart. Tell me, is it too late to rewind and restart? Baby, your love and my love has drifted too far, but I keep on missing you. Girl, I keep on missing you. Yeah. Do you think of me sometimes? How we failed each time we tried, but now and then it was so good. Those were the best days of our lives. Last night I called your name, but you were nowhere found. Your picture in a frame from when you were around. The memories haunting me, and it's my destiny. Baby, tell me why you still hit on my mind. If only his words could speak right to your heart. Tell me, is it too late to rewind and restart? Baby, your love and my love has drifted too far, but I keep on missing you. I keep on missing you. I keep on missing you. Hey, yeah, I keep
starts to fade. In a single second, every color turns to gray. You're the color in my life. This time everything feels right. Will we always feel the fire in our beating hearts? I sure hope so, even if we have been miles apart. Feels like half my body moves somewhere distant beyond the stars. Here in the sunset, you and me should be together in silence. To be near you is a kind of enlightenment. Wherever we go from here, this is destruction. I just miss you too much to fully function. It's a state I kinda hate, but you'll return, and we'll never be alone again. I know you're right, I'll call you right now, but you're probably empty. Those crying baby, I never love you, together and this is destruction. I just miss you too much to fully function. It's a state I kinda hate, but you'll return, and we'll never be alone again.
I know you're trying your best to hold on to what you believe in, what makes you strong. Mirrors are lying and pictures can be fake. I know you better than anyone else. Got this feeling lately that you are drowning maybe, but all the world is crazy, they don't know a thing. One love, that's all you need to be everything you wanna be. All the love you'll ever need is waiting right here. Don't hit the wall, just learn to save weight. You're truly special, no matter what they say. When life is cruel, that's every night to me. I think of you, is that so hard to see? Got this feeling lately that you are drowning maybe, but all the world is crazy, they don't know a thing. One love, that's all you need to be everything you wanna be. All the love you'll ever need is waiting right here. One love, that's all you need to be everything you wanna be. All the love you'll ever need is waiting right here. I didn't come here to save you. Think we need each other. But if I could, I would save you, and you'll still wonder. One love, that's all you need to be everything you want to be. And all that love is standing right here. One love, that's all you need to be everything you wanna be. All the love you'll ever need is waiting right
the scars to prove it. Of all the setbacks in your life, you don't know how to do it and how you're gonna stay alive. Is this the life you've chosen? Like everything that's broken are falling into pieces. Oh, they're falling into pieces. You're building walls around you for every brick that you lay down. Who will see you when you become the alien? For the things that bound you and every obstacle around, you take the easy way out. You're building walls around you. Whoa. Every time you fall and stumble, you wanna be set free from your chains. And when it all starts to crumble and fall into pieces, yeah, they're falling into pieces. You're building walls around you for every brick that you lay down. Who will see you when you become the alien? For the things that bound you and every obstacle around, you take the easy way out. The building walls around you. Oh, I'm afraid that there is no one who'll catch you when you fall down. But how will you know unless you let yourself fall? You let yourself fall. You're building walls around you for every brick that you lay down. Who will see you when you become the alien? And for the things that bound you and every obstacle around, you take the easy way out. You're building walls around you. You're building walls around you for every brick that you lay down. Who will see you when you become the alien? For the things that bound you and every obstacle around, take the easy way out. The building walls around you. Oh.
I've kept my heart inside a box, threw away the key. You found your way under my skin. Now I come undone. The walls that I built on weakest paper, my castle is falling from the sky. Ain't nobody else have made me lose my grip before. Yeah, I come undone. Was fast asleep both night and day. Now I'm wide awake. My world is turning all upside down. undone. The walls that I built on weakest paper, my castle is falling from the sky. Ain't nobody else have made me lose my grip before. Yeah, I come undone. Oh, yeah. Will you catch my fall? Or will you carry me home? 'Cause I can't hold on, gotta let myself go for you. Can you show me how? Or can I learn to be free? Oh, 'cause I'm too afraid, but there's no turning back from here. Hope you remain right next to me as days turns to years. Say, can you hear the bells singing our song as I come undone? The walls that I built on weakest paper, my castle is falling from the sky. Ain't nobody else have made me lose my grip before. Yeah, I come undone. Ooh, oh, I come undone. Yeah, I come undone. Oh, I come undone for you. Yeah, I come undone.
Hey, pretty baby. Oh, oh, yeah. Oh. Alright, listen. I've been waiting for so long, girl, yeah, to be with you alone, girl, yeah, yeah. Move your back against the wall, girl, don't be afraid, won't let you fall, girl, no, no, no. You don't have to feel no pressure, we got all the night, no stress, girl. Go ahead and get undressed, girl, we can do it all the night, and I promise you I will make you scream my name. I know you make me do the same, girl. I will make you scream my name. I know you make me do the same, baby. Make me scream your name. I will make you scream my name. I know you make me do the same, girl. I will make you scream my name. I know you make me do the same, baby. Make me scream your name. Oh baby, please don't stop. No, we'll take it to the top, girl, yeah, yeah. We can do it all night long, just me and you alone. Oh baby, you're so beautiful, beautiful. You don't have to feel no pressure, we got all the night, no stress, girl. Go ahead and get undressed, girl, we can do it all the night, and I promise you that my name, I know you make me do the same, girl. I will make you scream my name. I know you make me do the same, baby. Make me scream your name. I will make you scream marked, lost and found. One of these days I think I'm gonna turn it upside down. That's how it goes when you're running for another's man. That's all I get, just the sweetest thing I never had. I can't regret, even though I may be sad. It's just the sweetest thing I never had. Maybe tomorrow we're gonna see it's your mistake. I know it's hollow, but it's a chance I need to take. Maybe you'll notice, ooh, maybe you'll hear it in my voice. Baby, when I sing it out, you won't have a choice. One of these days I'm not just gonna sing it to myself. That's how it goes when you're running for another's bad. That's all I get, it's just the sweetest thing I never had. I can't regret, even though I may be sad, 'cause you're the sweetest thing I never had. Ooh yeah. Maybe I'm all wrong, but maybe that's alright. Oh, 'cause whatever way I try, I'll never win this fight. That's how it goes when you're running for a love that's bad. That's all I get, just the sweetest thing I never had. I can't regret, even though I may be sad. Ooh, you're the sweetest thing I never had. That's how it goes. That's how it goes. When you're running for a love that's bad. That's all I get, just the sweetest thing I never had. I can't regret, even though I may be sad. You're the sweetest thing I never had, just the sweetest thing I never had. It's just the sweetest thing I never had. Ooh yeah, it's just the sweetest thing I never had. Ooh, just the sweetest thing I never had.
Everything can break, it's a risk you take. I went out on a limb, but I fell down. It was my mistake, thought that you would wait. You should know that it hurt me to leave town. I heard you found a new friend who's an old good friend of mine. My heart, it beats like a drum, let it drum just to numb my mind. It should have been me, I hope you can see. I wish I was there with you tonight, but I should let go a long time ago. But I just keep going back in time, now that it's all too late. I shouldn't have run away. It should have been me, I hope you can see. I wish I was there with you tonight. Right up till the end, we were more than friends. On and off, we would walk in the same shoes. If I come home again, will we still pretend that you and I are the same that we used to? I heard you found a new friend who's an old good friend of mine. My heart, it beats like a drum. Let it drum just to numb my mind. It should have been me, I hope you can see. I wish I was there with you tonight, but I should have gone a long time ago. But I just keep going back in time. Now that it's all too late, I shouldn't have run away. It should have been me, I hope you can see. I wish I was there with you tonight. You hurt me, I hurt you too. We just aren't the same as we used to. I'm gone now, and you're doing fine. But how do I get you off my mind? I hope you can see. I wish I was there with you tonight, but I should have gone a long time ago. But I just keep going back in time. Now that it's all too late, I shouldn't have run away. It should have been me, I hope you can see. I wish I was there with you tonight. In the last minute, stop the clock and try to wake up. Behind your eyelids, a dream was lost, lost again. In the last minute, I told you everything I wanted to. And now you follow me and I follow you back home. So hold me again, that is all that I ask of you. You understand me more than I'll ever do. So restart this moment, it's all secondary thoughts. And I feel you're the only one. So I guess you are. In the last minute, stop the clock and try to wake up. Behind your eyelids, a dream was lost, lost again. In the last minute, I told you everything I wanted to. And now you follow me and I follow you back home. So hold me again, that is all that I ask of you. You understand me more than I'll ever do. So restart this moment, it's all secondary thoughts. And I feel you're the only one. So I guess you are.
There's nothing more you could improve. In every flaw I see the good, but my mind's a bit clouded. You're way too perfect to be true, and I try to see things about you that could make me change my way. I cannot find the thing I'm into you. You say whatever you want to, you go wherever you need to. So many reasons loving you. Yeah, girl, you're amazing. You know your way around feelings, upfront but not about hurting. So many reasons loving you. Yeah, girl, you're amazing. Amazing, that's you. Girl, you're amazing. It's true. You're hard to read, but no mystery. You play hard to get. I know every single word. So make a move. I'm telling you, we're ready to go on here without you. You say whatever you want to, you go wherever you need to. So many reasons loving you. Yeah, girl, you're amazing. You know your way around feelings, upfront but not about hurting. So many reasons loving you. Yeah, girl, you're amazing. Amazing, that's you. Girl, you're amazing. It's true.
Baby, please just take it slow. There's no need to rush things, no. Let's figure out a way. You know it's you and me. Don't care what I say. So please don't go away, don't leave. Without you, boy, I cannot breathe. Let's figure out a way. You know it's you and me. Don't care what I say. It brings me down to fall apart. Thinking about the day you leave, it breaks my heart. Don't leave me hanging, baby. Don't leave me hanging, baby. I will never win this game. I am lost, boy, I'm in vain. I will never be the same. 'Cause I am lost, boy, I'm in vain. You are so beautiful. I'm losing ground without you, I fall. Let's figure out a way. You know it's you and me. Don't care what others say. It brings me down to fall apart. Thinking about the day you leave, it breaks my heart. Don't leave me hanging, baby. Don't leave me hanging, baby. I will never win this game. I am
don't wanna wait in line. I've been here 1,000 times. It's all a big hustle and a serious crime. You're coming out to me and hope I come quietly. Already in love, but nowhere to call my home. You're still a part of me, but are you where you wanna be? I left you without a single way to break free. I came back years too late, feeling both love and hate. I'm trying to make up for the hurt that I've caused, hoping to gain what I've lost. Don't stop waiting here for me, although I can't be the one you need. I'll be your stepping stone. If you want more than I can give, I'm ready to change the way I live and be your stepping stone. I was out of line, thinking you were doing fine. You were hiding the truth about the way that you feel. It's still a long way out. We shouldn't hold on to doubt. I'm trying to make up for the hurt that I've caused, hoping to gain what I've lost. Don't stop waiting here for me, although I can't be the one you need. I'll be your stepping stone. If you want more than I can give, I'm ready to change the way I live. I'll be your stepping stone. Don't stop waiting here for me, although I can't be the one you need. I'll be your stepping stone. If you want more than I can give, ready to change the way I live and be your stepping
I hear thunder, I hear lightning, I hear wonders, and everybody wanna go, but no one really cares to know. I see marvels, I see titans, and some troubles that everybody has to face, that no one really can erase, and they hide away from it. A part of you is always standing in the rain, but I was never your ball and chain. A part of me was always trying to believe you were the only air to breathe. I stood against the wind. You hurt me, I found love again.
There's no way we could ever lose it. There's no way we could ever break or bruise it. But you threw it on the ground. A part of you was always standing in the rain, but I was never your ball and chain. A part of me was always trying to believe you were the only air to breathe. I stood against the wind. You hurt me, I found love again. Even as a friend, everything must end. Everything must end. I heard laughter, I heard music. I thought, baby, there's no way we could ever lose it. There's no way we could ever break or bruise it. A part of you was always standing in the rain, but I was never your ball and chain. A part of me was always trying to believe you were the only air to breathe. I stood against the wind. You hurt me, I found love again. Even as a friend, everything must end. You wrote to me, you wrote to me. This is suddenly. Hiding in the bungalow, she felt so young. The night she was much younger than the other. Feeling like a prisoner there in the light. She stood, she knew they couldn't miss her. And then they took her arrestor, walked her like flame. You wrote to me, you wrote to me. This is suddenly. Cause she wanted me. This is Ellie. Cause she wanted me. This is Ellie. She kept quiet, they kept beating her. They felt sad for her, but an order is an order. She was a prisoner there in the light. She stood, but she knew they couldn't break her. And by the shore, the bombs were falling with the snow. You wrote to me, you wrote to me. This is Ellie.
to forever.
There's something about the way he talks to me, how he talks to me now. The glimmer in his eyes as he's watching me, you know I'm watching him now. As he laughs with his beautiful smile, I know I'll never survive without this stranger by my side. The way he talks to me, the way he talks to me now. Life can sometimes feel like it's only dragging you down, dragging you down. Just remember you will always rise. Let your body go and don't think twice. If you meet a stranger with the deepest eyes, come on, 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 come on. Something in the way she looks at him, the way she looks at him now. A sadness in her eyes as she waves at him. She waves at him now. Tries to act as his beautiful wife. I know she'll never survive. If I leave, she will be alright. The way he talks to me, oh how he talks to me now. Life can sometimes feel like it's only dragging you down, dragging you down. Just remember you will
to show it off. Cause you're so real. People whisper and they stop. And you still blow my mind, girl, to cheer me up. Yeah, but what's the deal? Girl, I still can't get enough. No. There's no fuss and fight, you make my life so easy. I can't believe you're mine, I know you'll never leave my side. No. Oh, 'cause even when you're getting dressed, half asleep, your hair's a mess. Without makeup, still the best. Girl, you're different from the rest. People say that you're divine, something that they call divine. But you wouldn't even care at all. That's why you're beautiful. That's why you're beautiful. That's why you're beautiful. That's why you're beautiful. You're beautiful. And tonight we will celebrate our love and our life. We'll be together, you and I. We will watch the sunrise far across the ocean. Oh, even when you're getting dressed, half asleep, your hair's a mess. Oh yeah, without makeup, still the best. Girl, you're different from the rest. People say that you're divine, something that they call divine. But you wouldn't even care at all. That's why you're beautiful. That's why you're beautiful. Oh, that's why you're beautiful. That's why you're beautiful. Oh, that's why you're beautiful. That's why you're beautiful. That's why you're beautiful.
I've been sitting around in my lonely room, waiting till we're alone, only me and you. And I'm counting down the seconds, but it feels like time runs slower now. Whoa, but in my fantasy world, you're already here with me. Baby, you rock me hard whenever I hear you call. I'm coming to you, 'cause I just can't get enough of it. No, feel like I lose my mind whenever I hear you say you're loving it too. 'Cause I just can't get enough of it. No, I just can't get enough. Stop for a minute and hold it. Don't let it pass. It's so hard to get out of this wonderland. Yeah, and I'm struggling not to lose control and head on further down the road. Yeah, we should get it right now, for it's all too late for me. Baby, you rock me hard whenever I hear you call. I'm coming to you, 'cause I just can't get enough of it. No, feel like I lose my mind whenever I hear you say you're loving it too. 'Cause I just can't get enough of it. No, I just can't get enough. Time's running out of me. Time's running out of me. Hey, time's running out of me. Yeah, time's running out of me. Yeah, yeah. Oh, baby, you rock me hard whenever I hear you call. I'm coming to you, 'cause I just can't get enough of it. I just can't get enough. Feel like I
close my eyes at times. I'll do it when the sky falls. Forget about the crimes. If I could stay forever, here floating by the rim, where everything is mending, then serenity begins. If tomorrow would come, don't wanna go
The wind is playing with your hair. I'm watching it painting circles in the air. You're smiling at me like only you could do, like a perfect dream, and that dream is you. The sun is lighting up your face. We stayed up all night and listened to the rain, like music kept on playing like a drum. With you in my arms, I'm the lucky one. And I wanna spend the day making love 1,000 ways and more to show. Baby, every time we're kissing, I know it is forbidden, but I can't stop. No, I can't stop. Your body's on my body, I know you really got me, 'cause I can't stop. No, I can't stop. Even if I'm trying, I could never pull away. And when we are, girl, I can't stop. No, I can't stop. When we are, girl, I can't stop. No, I can't stop. When people telling her to leave, that she won't have a future here with me. Though I've done my best, I've tried to prove them wrong. They ain't listening, but I know that she's the one. And I wanna spend the day, make love 1,000 ways and more to show. Baby, every time we're kissing, I know it is forbidden, but I can't stop. No, I can't stop. Your body's on my body, I know you really got me, 'cause I can't stop. No, I can't stop. Even if I'm trying, I could never go away. And when we are, girl, I can't stop. No, I can't stop. When we are, girl, I can't stop. No, I can't stop. Can't stop. Can't stop now. Can't stop. Can't stop now. The sun is lighting up your face. We stayed up all night and listened to the rain, like music it kept on playing like a drum. I'm the lucky one.
Nothing really matters if you're not mine, right here, right now. And even if the world ends, then I'll be fine. No fear, no doubt. I know a place that sneak away, leave the pain, I'll stay with you. Let me hold you, close your eyes, we'll be reaching paradise. Ooh, 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 ooh. I don't even really know your name, but I'm still high on our love and making me feel alright. I don't even really know your name, but I'm still high on our love and making me feel alright. eyes, we'll be reaching paradise. Ooh, 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 ooh. I don't even really know your name, but I'm still high on our love and making me feel alright. I don't even really know your name, but I'm still high on our love and making me feel alright. Yeah, I'm still high on our love and making me feel alright. I don't even really know your name, but I'm still high on our love and making me feel alright. Be alright, yeah, I know we'll be alright. We are closing in on heaven, and I know we'll be alright. Be alright, yeah, I know we'll be alright. We are closer now than ever, and I know we'll be alright. Be alright, yeah, I know we'll be alright. We are closer now than ever, and I know we'll be alright. Be alright, yeah, I know we'll be alright. We are closer now than ever, and I know we'll be alright. I don't even really know your name, but I'm still high on our love and making me feel alright. I don't even really know your name, but I'm still high on our love and making me feel alright.
Waiting for a sign to show me my way in. The only point I reach is frustration. And then back again, then back again. Trying to see why I had to lie in. Go around the moon with your heart in. Then back again, then back again. Hey, draw your arrow back. I just want you to fly me into the sky. I'll fall but never crack. Are you dreaming of love too? Or are you still in your shadow? I know I didn't see the good between us, but tell you what, I've opened up my eyes and seen the truth. So you can blame it on my youth. Courage, no one seems to care that I lost it. You're the only one that's gonna tell me to go back again, give it one more chance. Blame it, one day I will see what it cost me. You're the only one that always trusted me, and that's all I need, my remedy. Hey, draw your arrow back. I just want you to fly me into the sky. I'll fall but never crack. Are you dreaming of love too? Or are you still in your shadow? I know I didn't see the good between us, yeah. I tell you what, I've opened up my eyes and seen. I've opened up my eyes and seen the truth. What have I to lose? I tell you what, I've opened up my eyes and seen the truth. Why don't you blame it on my youth? Are you dreaming of love too? Or are you still in your shadow? Are you dreaming of love too? seen the truth? Why don't you blame it on my youth?
Watch the corn grow in the fields. I don't know what's on your mind, but I know that it's something about you and me. I'll stay here for as long as I can, through the storms and through the calm. When you smile at me, I slowly begin to realize that you are the one. I will sneak a note in your pocket, and I'll leave with your smile in my mind. Wherever we will end up, I will love it, 'cause you're mine, 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 mine. And you know I'll walk a million miles for you. You said summer will be over soon. Would you still like to hang around? When clouds roll in and cover the moon, will we manage to stand the ground? Without you I'm an unleaf tree, cold, naked, lost in faith. And what's an island without a sea? For you I'll hold away. But I will sneak a note in your pocket, and I'll leave with your smile in my mind. Wherever we will end up, I will love it, 'cause you're mine, 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 mine. And you know I'll walk a million miles for you. Yeah, I will sneak a note in your pocket, and I'll leave with your smile in my mind. Wherever we will end up, I will love it, 'cause you're mine, 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 mine. And you know I walk a million miles for you, 'cause you're mine, 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 mine.
I've been so many places, I've seen them all with open eyes. Seen islands, open spaces, Serengeti sun slowly rise. All these memories, I hold them near me when I sail the Aegean Sea. But there's one place for me. Please
square filled with people I used to race back home from school. We kids, we never back down. We learn by breaking every rule. Ooh, all these memories. Take me to the place where I come from. The only place that I really belong. Oh, sometimes this road can be so long. Back to you. Ooh. Sun is rising. I can see the edge of the horizon way out there. One day, maybe I will get to see it rise with you. Take me to the place where I come from. The only place that I really belong. Oh, sometimes this road can be so long. Back to you. Ooh. Back to you. Ooh.
I shut the door and all the windows I hide inside. Forget the people I used to love. All that I had. Open the drawers, try to find something new to last. And the time rushing by so fast. All that I had. All the times we would run off, get in trouble. get in trouble. Could have held on to that bubble, and I would get to you. You would get me too. But now we've fallen through. If we only could make it last till the end of time in a flash. We were over before I could get to you. You already knew we were overdue. Make it last till the end of time in a flash. We were over before I could get to you. You already knew we were overdue. Make it last.
Yeah. Girl, I don't know what it means, but I keep talking in my sleep. I'm waking up like every night, just to escape my vivid dreams. Last night I called your name, but you were nowhere found. Your picture in a frame from when you were around. The memories haunted me, and it's my destiny. Baby, tell me why you're still here on my mind. If only these words could speak right to your heart. Tell me, is it too late to rewind and restart? Baby, your love and my love has drifted too far, but I keep on missing you. Girl, I keep on missing you. Yeah. Do you think of me sometimes? How we failed each time we tried, but now and then it was so good. Those were the best days of our lives. Last night I called your name, but you were nowhere found. Your picture in a frame from when you were around. The memories haunted me, and it's my destiny. Baby, tell me why you're still here on my mind. If only his words could speak right to your heart. Tell me, is it too late to rewind and restart? Baby, your love and my love has drifted too far, but I keep on missing you. I keep on missing you. I keep on missing you. Hey,
hope so, even if we have 10 miles apart. Feels like half my body moon, somewhere distant beyond the stars. Well, this time will be different. I'll call you right now, but you're probably empty. Sleep, falls crying completely. Underneath it all, we know that we belong together, and we're not made to be apart. Here in the sunset, you and me should be together in silence. To be near you is a kind of enlightenment. Wherever we go from here, this is destruction. I just miss you too much to fully function. It's a state I kinda hate, but you'll return, and we'll never be alone again. When I think of you, the world around me starts to fade. In a single second, every color turns to gray. You're the color in my life. This time everything feels right. Will we always feel the fire in our beating hearts? I sure hope so, even if we have been miles apart. Feels like half my body moves somewhere distant beyond the stars. Here in the sunset, you and me should be together in silence. To be near you is a kind of enlightenment. Wherever we go from here, this is destruction. I just miss you too much to fully function. It's a state I kinda hate, but you'll return, and we'll never be alone again. This time will be different. I'll call you right now, but you're probably empty. Falls crying completely. Underneath it all, we know that we belong together, and we're not made to be apart. This is destruction. I just miss you too much to fully function. It's a state I kinda hate, but you'll return, and we'll never be alone again.
I know you're trying your best to hold on to what you believe in, what makes you strong. Mirrors are lying and pictures can be fake. I know you better than anyone else. Got this feeling lately that you are drowning maybe, but all the world is crazy, they don't know a thing. One love, that's all you need to be everything you wanna be. All the love you'll ever need is waiting right here. Don't hit the wall, just learn to save weight. You're truly special, no matter what they say. When life is cruel, that's every night to me. I think of you, is that so hard to see? Got this feeling lately that you are drowning maybe, but all the world is crazy, they don't know a thing. One love, that's all you need to be everything you wanna be. All the love you'll ever need is waiting right here.
That's all you need to be everything you want to be. And all that love is standing right here.
The scars to prove it. Of all the setbacks in your life, you don't know how to do it and how you're gonna stay alive. Is this the life you've chosen? Like everything that's broken are falling into pieces. Oh, they're falling into pieces. Your building walls surround you. For every brick that you lay down, who will see you when you become the alien? For the things that bound you and every obstacle around, to take the easy way out.
I've kept my heart inside a box, threw away the key. You found your way under my skin. Now I come undone. The walls that I built on weakest paper, my castle is falling from the sky. Ain't nobody else have made me lose my grip before. Yeah, I come undone. Was fast asleep both night and day. Now I'm wide awake. My world is turning all upside down. Oh, I come undone. The walls that I built on weakest paper, my castle is falling from the sky. Ain't nobody else have made me lose my grip before. Yeah, I come undone. Oh, yeah. Will you catch my fall? Or will you carry me home? 'Cause I can't hold on, gotta let myself go for you. Can you show me how? Or can I learn to be free? Oh, 'cause I'm too afraid, but there's no turning back from here. Hope you remain right next to me as days turns to years. Say, can you hear the bells singing our song as I come undone? The walls that I built on weakest paper, my castle is falling from the sky. Ain't nobody else have made me lose my grip before. Yeah, I come undone. Oh, I come undone. Yeah, I come undone. Oh, I come undone for you. Yeah, I come undone.
Pretty baby. Oh, alright, listen.
I've been waiting for so long, girl, yeah, to be with you alone, girl, yeah, yeah. Move your back against the wall, girl, don't be afraid, won't let you fall, girl, no, no, no. You don't have to feel no pressure. We got all the night, no stress, girl. Go ahead and get undressed, girl. We can do it all the night, and I promise you I will make you scream my name. I know you make me do the same, girl. I will make you scream my name. I know you make me do the same, baby. Make me scream your name. I will make you scream my name. I know you make me do the same, girl. I will make you scream my name. I know you please don't stop. No, we'll take it to the top, girl, yeah, yeah. We can do it all night long, just me and you alone. Oh baby, you're so beautiful, beautiful. You don't have to feel no pressure. We got all the night, no stress, girl. Go ahead and get undressed, girl. We can do it all the night, and I promise you that my name, I know you make me do the same, girl. I will make you scream. My name, I know you make me do the same, baby. Make me scream your name. I will make you scream. My name, I know you make me do the same, girl. I will make you scream. My name, I know you make me do the same, baby. Make me scream your name. Let's take it to another level. Yeah, let's fly all the way up to heaven. Hey, I love the way you put it down, girl. Love the way you make me feel. I will make you scream. My name, I know you make me do the same, girl. I will make you scream. Make you scream. I know you make me do the same, baby. Make me scream your name. I will make you scream. My name, I know you make me do the same, girl. I will make you scream. My name, I know you make me do the same, baby. Make me scream your name. Oh, 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 I make you scream my name. Oh, 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 you make me scream your name. Oh, oh, I make you scream my name. Oh, you make me scream your name.
Why do you do it? Why do you bring me back around? Make me go through it, only to burn me to the ground. Is it that easy? Saying my name to hear the sound. Never release me. It's kept in a box marked lost and found. One of these days I think I'm gonna turn it upside down. That's how it goes when you're running for another man. That's all I get, just the sweetest thing I never had. I can't regret, even though I may be sad. It's just the sweetest thing I never had. Maybe tomorrow you're gonna see it's your mistake. I know it's hollow, but it's a chance I need to take. Maybe you'll notice, or maybe you'll hear it in my voice. Baby, when I sing it out, you won't have a choice. One of these days I'm not just gonna sing it to myself. That's how it goes when you're running for another's bed. That's all I get, it's just the sweetest thing I never had. I can't regret, even though I may be sad, 'cause you're the sweetest thing I never had. Ooh yeah. Maybe I'm all wrong, but maybe that's alright. Oh, 'cause whatever way I try, I'll never win this fight. That's how it goes when you're wanting for a love that's bad. That's all I get, just the sweetest thing I never had. I can't regret, even though I may be sad. Ooh, you're the sweetest thing I ever had. That's how it goes. That's how it goes. When you only fake love that's bad. That's all I get. Just the sweetest thing I ever had. I can't regret, even though I may be sad. You're the sweetest thing I ever had. Just the sweetest thing I ever had. It's just the sweetest thing I ever had. Ooh yeah, it's just the sweetest thing I ever had. Ooh, just the sweetest thing I ever had.
Everything can break, it's a risk you take. I went out on a limb, but I fell down. It was my mistake, thought that you would wait. You should know that it hurt me to leave town. I heard you found a new friend who's an old good friend of mine. My heart, it beats like a drum, let it drum just to numb my mind. It should have been me, I hope you can see. I wish I was there with you tonight, but I should let go a long time ago. But I just keep going back in time, now that it's all too late. I shouldn't have run away. It should have been me, I hope you can see. I wish I was there with you tonight. Right up till the end, we were more than friends. On and off, we would walk in the same shoes. If I come home again, will we still pretend that you and I are the same that we used to? I heard you found a new friend who's an old good friend of mine. My heart, it beats like a drum, let it drum just to numb my mind. It should have been me, I hope you can see. I wish I was there with you tonight, but I should let go a long time ago. But I just keep going back in time, now that it's all too late. I shouldn't have run away. It should have been me, I hope you can see. I wish I was there with you tonight. You hurt me, I hurt you too. We just aren't the same as we used to. I'm gone now, and you're doing fine, but how do I get you off my mind? I hope you can see. I wish I was there with you tonight, but I should have come a long time ago. But I just keep going back in time, now that it's all too late. I shouldn't have run away. It should have been me, I hope you can see. minute. Stop the clock and try to wake up. Behind your eyelids, a dream was lost, lost again. In the last minute, I told you everything I wanted to. And now you follow me and I follow you back home. So hold me again, that is all that I ask of you. You understand me more than I'll ever do. So restart this moment, it's all secondary thoughts. And I feel you're the only one. So I guess you are. In the last minute, stop the clock and try to wake up. Behind your eyelids, a dream was lost, lost again. In the last minute, I told you everything I wanted to. And now you follow me and I follow you back home. So hold me again, that is all that I ask of you. You understand me more than I'll ever do. So restart this moment, it's all secondary thoughts. And I feel you're the only one. So I guess you are.
I think I know you from before, and I've been thinking about you. Stuck in my mind and I want more. No, we got a thing going on. Walked up and kissed me on the spot. I'm still thinking about it. I really miss it quite a lot. And I try to see things about you that could make me change my way. I cannot find a thing I'm into you. You say whatever you want to. You go wherever you need to. So many reasons loving you. Yeah, girl, you're amazing. You know your way around feelings. Upfront, but not about hurting. So many reasons loving you. Yeah, girl, you're amazing. Amazing, that's you. Girl, you're amazing. It's true. This way you have, the way you move. There's nothing more you could improve. In every flaw I see the good, but my mind's a bit clouded. You're way too perfect to be true. And I try to see
Baby, please just take it slow. There's no need to rush things, no. Let's figure out a way. You know it's you and me. Don't care what I say. So please don't go away, don't leave. Without you, boy, I cannot breathe. Let's figure out a way. You know it's you and me. Don't care what I say. It brings me down to fall apart. Thinking about the day you leave, it breaks my heart. Don't leave me hanging, baby. Don't leave me hanging, baby. I will never win this game. I am lost, boy, I'm in vain. I will never be the same. 'Cause I am lost, boy, I'm in vain. You are so beautiful. I'm losing ground without you, I fall. Let's figure out a way. You know it's you and me. Don't care what others say. Brings me down to fall apart. Thinking about the day you leave, it breaks my heart. Don't leave me hanging, baby. Don't leave me hanging, baby. I will never win this game. I am lost,
won't try to make you stay. With a smile you got me hooked. Do you know I like you? Do you know I really like you? I won't let you go by now. Not until it's safe and sound. Honey, I like to know if I'm the only one you want. And you know why? This life is a lottery. Nothing ever comes for free. Just know that if we're together, then forever will be beautiful. I wanna be with you and resting here forever in your arms.
Don't wanna wait in line. I've been here 1,000 times. It's all a big hustle and a serious crime. You're coming out to me and hope I come quietly. Already in love, but nowhere to call my home. You're still a part of me, but are you where you wanna be? I left you without a single way to break free. I came back years too late, feeling both love and hate. I'm trying to make up
thunder, I hear lightning, I hear wonders, and everybody wanna go, but no one really cares to know. I see marvels, I see titans, and some troubles that everybody has to face, that no one really can erase, and they hide away from it. A part of you is always standing in the rain, but I was never your ball and chain. A part of me was always trying to believe you were the only air to breathe. I stood against the wind, you hurt me, I'll find love again. Even as a friend, everything must end. When you worry, I worry. It's no hurry, 'cause we got all the time we need. If we're in love, then we'll succeed. I heard laughter, I heard music. I thought, baby, there's no way we could ever lose it. There's no way we could ever break or bruise it. But you threw it on the ground. A part of you is always standing in the rain, but I was never your ball and chain. A part of me was always trying to believe you were the only air to breathe. I stood against the wind, you hurt me, I'll find love again. Even as a friend, everything must end. Everything must end. I heard laughter, I heard music. I thought, baby, there's no way we could ever lose it. There's no way we could ever break or bruise it. A part of you was always standing in the rain, but I was never your ball and chain. A part of me was always trying to believe you were the only air to breathe. I stood against the wind, you hurt me, I'll find love again. Even as a friend, everything must end.
You wrote to me, you wrote to me. This is Annalie. Hiding in the bungalow, she felt so young. The night she was much younger than the other, feeling like a prisoner there in the light. She stood, she knew they couldn't miss her. And then they took over as her, walked over like fled. You wrote to me, you wrote to me. This is Annalie. Sad for her, but an order is an order. She was a prisoner there in the light. She stood, but she knew they couldn't break her. And by the shore, the bombs
There's something about the way he talks to me, how he talks to me now. The glimmer in his eyes as he's watching me, you know I'm watching him now. As he laughs with his beautiful smile, I know I'll never survive without this stranger by my side. The way he talks to me, the way he talks to me now. Life can sometimes feel like it's only dragging you down, dragging you down. Just remember you will always rise. Let your body go and don't think twice. If you meet a stranger with the deepest eyes, come on, 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 come on. Something in the way she looks at him, the way she looks at him now. A sadness in her eyes as she waves at him. She waves at him now. Tries to act as his beautiful wife. I know she'll never survive. If I leave, she will be alright. The way he talks to me, oh how he talks to me now. Life can sometimes feel like it's only dragging you down, dragging you down. Just remember you will always rise. Let your body go and don't think twice. If you meet a stranger with the deepest eyes, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Life can sometimes feel like it's only dragging you down, dragging you down. Just remember you will always rise. Let your body go and don't think twice. If you meet a stranger with the deepest eyes, come on, 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 come
I know you know I am always by your side. Been years ago since we met that very first time, and still you blow my mind, the girl that cheered me up. I know that I still can't get enough. There's no fuss and fight, you make my life so easy. I can't believe you're mine, I know you'll never leave my side, no. Cause even when you're getting dressed, half asleep, your hair's a mess. Without makeup, still the best. Girl, you're different from the rest. People say that you're divine, something that they call divine, but you wouldn't even care at all. That's why you're beautiful. That's why you're beautiful. That's why you're beautiful. That's why you're beautiful. Got no need to show it off. Cause you're so real, people whisper and they stare. And you still blow my mind, girl, to cheer me up. Yeah, and what's the deal? Girl, I get enough. No. There's no fuss and fight. You make my life so easy. I can't believe you're mine. I know you'll never leave my side. No. Oh, 'cause even when you're getting dressed, half asleep, your hair's a mess. Without makeup, still the best. Girl, you're different from the rest. People say that you're divine, something that they call divine. But you wouldn't even care at all. That's why you're beautiful. That's why you're beautiful. That's why you're beautiful. That's why you're beautiful. You're beautiful. And tonight we will celebrate our love and our life. We'll be together, you and I. We will watch the sunrise far across the ocean. Oh, ooh. Even when you're getting dressed, half asleep, your hair's a mess. Oh, yeah. Without makeup, still the best. Girl, you're different from the rest. People say that you're divine, something that they call divine. But you wouldn't even care at all. That's why you're beautiful. That's why you're beautiful. Oh, that's why you're beautiful. That's why you're beautiful. Oh, that's why you're beautiful. That's why you're beautiful. That's why you're beautiful.
I've been sitting around in my lonely room, waiting till we're alone, only me and you. And I'm counting down the seconds, but it feels like time runs slower now. Whoa, but in my fantasy world, you're already here with me. Baby, you rock me hard whenever I hear you call. I'm coming to you, 'cause I just can't get enough of it. No, feel like I lose my mind whenever I hear you say you're loving it too, 'cause I just can't get enough of it. No, I just can't get enough. Stop for a minute and hold it, don't let it pass. It's so hard to get out of this wonderland. Yeah, and I'm struggling not to lose control and head on further down the road. Yeah, we should get it right now, for it's all too late for me. Baby, you rock me hard whenever I hear you call. I'm coming to you, 'cause I just can't get enough of it. No, feel like I lose my mind whenever I hear you say you're loving it too, 'cause I just can't get enough of it. No, I just can't get enough. Time's running out of me. Time's running out of me. Hey, time's running out of me. Yeah, time's running out of me. Yeah, yeah. Oh, baby, you rock me hard whenever I hear you call. I'm coming to you, 'cause I just can't get enough of it. I just can't get enough. Feel like I lose my mind whenever I hear
sacrifice at times. I'll do it when the sky falls. Forget about the crimes. If I could stay forever, here floating by the rim, where everything is mending, then serenity begins. If tomorrow would come, don't wanna go there. If tomorrow would come, I wanna stay
like only you could do, like a perfect dream, and that dream is you. The sun is lighting up your face. We stayed up all night and listened to the rain, like music kept on playing like a drum. With you in my arms, I'm the lucky one, and I wanna spend the day making love 1,000 ways and more to show. Baby, every time we're kissing, I know it is forbidden, but I can't stop. No, I can't stop. Your body's on my body, I know you really got me, 'cause I can't stop. No, I can't stop. Even if I'm trying, I could never pull away. And when we are, girl, I can't stop. No, I can't stop. When we are, girl, I can't stop. No, I can't stop. From people telling her to leave, that she won't have a future here with me. Though I've done my best, I've tried to prove them wrong. They ain't listening, but I know that she's the one. And I wanna spend the day, make love 1,000 ways and more to show. Baby, every time we're kissing, I know it is forbidden, but I can't stop. No, I can't stop. Your body's on my body, I know you really got me, 'cause I can't stop. No, I can't stop. Even if I'm trying, I could never go away. And when we are, girl, I can't stop. No, I can't stop. When we are, girl, I can't stop. No, I can't stop. Can't stop. Can't stop now. Can't stop. Can't stop now. The sun is lighting up your face. We stayed up all night and listened to the rain, like music it kept on playing like a drum. I'm the lucky one.
Nothing really matters if you're not mine, right here, right now. And even if the world ends, then I'll be fine. No fear, no doubt. I know a place that sneak away, leave the pain, I'll stay with you. You, let me hold you, close your eyes. We'll be reaching paradise. Ooh, 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 ooh. I don't even really know your name, but I'm still high on all love and making me feel alright. I don't even really know your name, but I'm still high on all love and making me feel alright. We are closing in on heaven, and I know we'll be alright. Be alright, be alright. Yeah, I know we'll be alright. We are closer now than ever, and I know we'll be alright. Be alright, be alright. Yeah, I know we'll be alright. We are closer now than ever, and I know we'll be alright. Be alright, be alright. Yeah, I know we'll be alright. We are closer now than ever, and I know we'll be alright. I don't even really know your name, but I'm still high on our love that makes me feel alright. I don't even really know your name, but I'm still high on our love that making me feel alright.
Waiting for a sign to show me my way in. The only point I reach is frustration. And then back again, then back again. Trying to see why I had to lie in. Go on the moon with your heart in. Then back again, then back again. Draw your arrow back. I just want you to fly me into the sky. I'll fall but never crack. Are you dreaming of love too? Or are you still in your shadow? I know I didn't see the good between us, but tell you what, I've opened up my eyes and seen the truth. So you can blame it on my youth. Courage, no one seems to care that I lost it. You're the only one that's gonna tell me to go back again, give it one more chance. Blame it, one day I will see what it cost me. You're the only one that always trusted me, and that's all I need, my remedy. Hey, draw your arrow back. I just want you to fly me into the sky. I'll fall but never crack. Are you dreaming of love too? Or are you still in your shadow? I know I didn't see the good between us. Yeah, I tell you what, I've opened up my eyes and seen. I've opened up my eyes and seen the truth. What have I to lose? I tell you what, I've opened up my eyes and seen the truth. Why don't you blame it on my youth? Are you dreaming of love too? Or are you still in your shadow? Are you dreaming of love too? Or are you still in your shadow? I know I didn't see the good between us. Yeah, so tell you what, I've opened up my eyes and seen the truth. Why don't you blame it on my youth?
Can we stay here for a week or so? Just watch the corn grow in the field.
I'll stay here for as long as I can, through the storms and through the calm. When you smile at me, I slowly begin to realize that you are the one. I will sneak a note in your pocket, and I'll leave with your smile in my mind. Wherever we will end up, I will love it, 'cause you're mine, 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 mine. And you know I'll walk a million miles for you. You said summer will be over soon. Would you still like to hang around? When clouds roll in and cover the moon, will we manage to stand the ground? Without you, I'm an unleaf tree, cold, naked, lost in faith.